We
Be good.
We were almost late.
Were
James.
we?
Yeah, no,
What
it's
time is it now?
still 5:30, but we were close.
Good.
We were close.
Getting a little
Episode 6.
comfortable.
Episode
Getting a little
6.
comfortable. I wanted to we're gonna get the production value up a little bit. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mute the sound to the stream so that I don't mess anything up here,
Well, there you go.
like most weeks.
That's smart.
And but I wanted to have some music coming in, but John vetoed that. We got to get better production.
Let's
stream production.
Let's get some music at the top. We got it. I think you had a little. So
we'll have an intro kind of screen or something, and then we'll have some music, and I'll figure that out. I've been working a lot this week trying to. The last couple of weeks I said the next step was getting audio versions on Apple Podcasts and Spotify,
right?
Because Spotify is becoming big for podcasts too, and I've so far got it listed on Spotify, but it's gonna come up at some point this week where people can actually search it. I have like our last episode up, and I'll try to get this one up as soon as possible, and then sort of gradually get the other ones kind of work backwards and get the other ones up. But that kind of took longer than I thought, just because it seemed like the week would go like that, and all of a sudden we'd be having to prep a new the next show, and I didn't get around to figuring out the audio. And so anyways,
well, it's coming, man. It's coming. You know what?
It's a lot to try to juggle. So
can you believe we are 6 episodes in on this already? It's so crazy.
Or a month and a half, man. It's just crazy.
And we've had different versions of this. I know we talked about this a little bit. We've had different versions of this podcast that we've tested out since December or January or whenever it was. And I know you had some sort of theme song that you put together that I think we need to get out there.
Better one. But
we got to get it out there though. It'll be something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll figure out some artwork or some intro sort of thing, an outro, and then it'll be a lot easier. We won't be on Zoom, and I don't want to tease next week too much because we're working on this week, but we may not be on Zoom next week, or at least we may not be in our own little areas, John?
We may be graduating and starting to move this
together.
podcast.
We'll see.
A little further down the line. So
we'll see.
Episode 6. Thank you to everybody
open up, a lot
who has joined us this week.
Opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much to everybody who's joined us this week and joined us every week. We have so many awesome people who have jumped in on this podcast that are asking awesome questions, that are engaging with us. And James and I, we're constantly talking about
what color drink am I going to have this week, John?
Oh, James, what's that, like Hawaiian punch or something?
Do you think it looks like I'm drinking like like different colored antifreeze or something?
Yeah, it kind of looks like wasn't there like the high C
like each week I've got different
vitamin water, like you put the mineral sand kind of deal into the water and you kind of do the stir around. Is that like your old boy James vitamin water?
No, it's like the other week where I was kind of lagging and I needed an energy drink. It's an energy drink that won't be named.
Great.
But you remember what's the what was that orange juice like drink that was just like pure sugar? And
Sunny
this
D.
is sugar free, by the way.
Sunny
this
D.
Sunny D. Now that was a drink.
Well, Sunny Delight. Sunny D was like the cool 90s kid way of referring to it. And then it became branded as Sunny D.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, the stuff that, I think it was better when we were younger, but especially obviously some generations older than us. But like breakfast and those sorts of meals, very sugary.
I literally just
even when we had
Cheerios before we jumped on.
And the regular Cheerios, like they've got a lot of flavor to them, in my opinion. Like a lot of
I like the regular
sugary
Cheerios.
flavor.
There was a day when Honey Nut took the precedent for me, like took the cake for me.
And no, sorry, I'm talking about the Honey Nut. The Honey Nut is like it's got a lot of.
Oh yeah, I know. I can't
do it.
I
like it, but it's.
But
I'm not a huge sugar guy either.
There's 2 purposes for cereal, and I will talk about this a little bit and then come back to Sunny D a little because I want to touch on that. But there's 2 purposes for me for cereal. because it doesn't really get you through the morning, right? Like it doesn't get you to lunch having just cereal.
No,
And that's, I think,
none of the traditional breakfast foods that I feel like um, that were marketed to us even when we were younger in the 90s and stuff, like
no.
none of that to me ever kept me really full, because I feel like it was just pretty much sugar and carbs. Like,
Well, yeah. And
at
I
least
think
what
everybody
we,
figured that out. That's why
not, our parents obviously were always looking after our well-being, but it just was also part of like
culture of,
what was had then was,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
And
absolutely.
then
And
they started saying part of a complete breakfast. They started saying part of a complete breakfast.
yeah.
And because they couldn't say, a perfect breakfast runs on, Count Chocula.
Well, that's why I read recently that cereal sales have been steadily declining because
Yeah.
people are wise to that now. And of course, we
Well,
live in a bit of a different
it's a
culture.
treat. It's a snack. It's a
Yeah,
treat. I mean, if
that's
we're
what it is
really
now.
being,
And so Cheerios for me is like a fast. If I got to have something so that I'm not just drinking coffee on an empty stomach in the morning, I'll maybe have a bowl of cereal. And maybe that's like healthy cereal, Shreddies or Cheerios without the honey nut, just a regular old plain Cheerios. Or you're getting Count Chocula or Reese Puffs or French Toast Crunch or something like that. That's for like a treat. Like it's instead of having a chocolate bar, which is hopefully better. I don't know. That's maybe a take for a later. What is better, chocolate
oh,
bar or
a
bad
chocolate
cereal?
bar versus cereal. I think that they probably end up in a similar territory,
Yeah,
other
come
than the
see, come
fact
saw.
that
That's not the right.
they infuse like some. I think there's some vitamins that are put into cereals that different
One,
low
right?
levels of vitamins.
Right. But Sunny
Yeah.
D,
Anyways,
you
we
talk.
actually have quite a few messages here
Oh, nice.
so far this week. Thank you guys for jumping in with some comments and jumping in early. We got Amy's back this week. Hello, made it this week. I actually was thinking about the fact that anybody who are overseas, John, it's like
Yes.
very late
Oh
for
yeah.
them to be
It's
watching.
really late.
No, I know. That's why we
It's like
haven't made a
11:30
point.
start.
We haven't made a point of saying how thankful we are,
Or
but
10:30.
like, thank you for. We almost. It's tough because we try to do it after the work day here.
Right.
Obviously, people aren't really working, but right now a lot of people are at home. But the so we're trying to balance that with. I know that we have some people overseas, and I feel bad because I feel like it's like, it's way past most people's bedtime. Like, so,
Well,
anyways, thank you,
thanks
Amy, for
for
being
tuning in, Amy. It's
here. Akeem
fun
is
having you.
here saying hello. He said he was going to be back this week. Glad to see him. And Eliza, hey guys, we missed last week because we were busy with the garden. That's great. Well, I have something to say about my garden in a few minutes here. Akeem, sorry we missed it last week. No problem at all. We're just so thankful for you guys to drop by anytime. So thanks a lot for being here this week. Mary Ray, who we know well from the
Hey,
Canadian
awesome.
country community.
The godmother of Canadian
The
country music.
godmother, that's right.
Right.
She commented freshie, which is that a type of drink back when we were talking about drinks?
Oh
Or is
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. I've never had that though,
okay?
Mary Ray. I'm trying to think because I was thinking of Sunny Delight or McDonald's orange drink. Remember
Yeah.
McDonald's orange drink? I don't even think they make that anymore. But Freshie.
I think you can get the orange drink. Or no,
Yeah.
maybe they have legitimate OJ now.
And that doesn't seem like on brand for McCafe these days.
Nico's here.
Right on,
He's
Nico.
dropped by. Amy says that doesn't look like a natural red color. No,
that is not. No, it's definitely not. Yeah.
And I thought the first week, I think I had a drink like this. I didn't realize that I had sorted out actually, which was good. I wasn't. I was still working through some of the kinks with this, but the what's it called? It's the gallery view on Zoom, and I didn't realize that you could set it up so it's recording the gallery view as it is, like on your device. And so I thought I was sneaking because the green box was off of me. I thought I was sneaking my. I don't know what I had, whatever my energy drink or I was drinking iced tea. I don't know, something. And I thought I was sneaking it in between my breaks.
Oh yeah, me too.
But I was just drinking.
Well, I was playing
an unexplained liquid. So
I was doing, James. I was fixing my hair like in the first week. I remember.
And you didn't know. Oh no, but we didn't have it set up that time, so you were fine then.
Right.
because it was the second episode. I think I inadvertently put on the gallery view, which is what I wanted in the first place. But so there you go. Sometimes you make mistakes and it works out for the better.
Way should be.
Eliza says multigrain Cheerios is not as bad as the honey nut. That's right. That's what we were saying. Definitely agree.
It's a nice. I don't know. I like the multigrain Cheerios myself. I think it's a nice snack. Good deal.
Yeah. Amy says there was a British TV documentary that showed some cereals had more sugar than a big glass of normal Coke or a bag of sweets. Shocking.
Whoa.
So basically, that other than some of the vitamins that were in them or are in them, I would say it's probably about as as nutritious as having some kind of chocolate bar or something.
Well, sugar hides in everything, right? Like it's as simple as, even if you have that Harvest Crunch Quaker like oat cereal or whatever, you think it's super healthy, that sort of thing, but it's all bound together in clumps by like sugar, right? Like a sugar syrup. Yeah. So stuff like that hides. It's just everywhere.
Yeah. Mary Ray says Freshie is pretty well all sugar. So Freshie, I'm gonna pull that up actually. Freshie. Because I think of the Freshie drink mix, Canadian drink mix.
Oh,
that was popular alternative to Kool-Aid. It's like an alternative to Kool-Aid.
Oh, there you go.
50s to early 80s.
Freshie. Thank you, Mary Ray.
It was available. I've heard people talk about it. The problem is that
Canadian
go to Freshie, the restaurant, and it's that chain, that kind of healthy food chain. So I got very. You can't see anything on that, John. John is such an old school guy. He doesn't have any control of the sharing screen functionality, and he just pushes his phone into the. Anyways, so Freshie is pretty well all sugar. That's hilarious. And Nico says he misses us, so that's great.
Same thing, buddy.
So awesome. let's get to the recap. Kind of a crazy week, weather-wise here. At least I don't know. I haven't spoken to you, John, but this is getting back to the garden mention that I had a couple minutes ago, and we had some crazy weather. I think it was Wednesday here this week, and we had hail, and they were the size of like marbles. Like marble.
I was in town. I was in town during that. It was crazy.
John, it was terrifying.
It was crazy. I was in the car, and it was hitting the car so hard on the roof. I thought it was denting or at least chipping the paint.
I thought it was denting. Yeah, the car's up front.
I wheeled in underneath I was actually in town driving around, and I just wheeled under someone's random tree right on, like at the front of the lawn.
Good.
And I got out, and I'm checking the car over, and they're so nice. They were this lady and her kids were in the. So
that's a picture.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly how bad it was. And they were in the front living room, and she said, "You stay under that tree all you want. Just hang in there as long as you can if you have to."
They were outside?
Yeah, it was basically
they were outside?
No, they were inside their house through the screen window, and they saw me basically pull right up on their lawn underneath their tree. So I was like in an emergency situation with this hail. And
you drove on their lawn?
Well, not on their lawn. It was kind of there's the lawn, there's the sidewalk, then there's like the city lawn. Like it's not their lawn, it's kind of the city's property. And there's a tree on that. So I kind of pull up on that to get under the tree. Yeah. It was kind of, they probably cut that grass, let's be honest, right? But it's, I don't think it's technically their property. Nice lady. She was like, stand on that tree all you want. And I did. I stayed for a little while because the hail lasted for a good little while. So did
you have your windows down? Like, how did you hear them?
No, I got out to look at the car and inspect the car, see if there were any dents and stuff, because I was worried. It was pelting the car. And she was just saying, hey, it's okay to stay there. And I was like, that's great, because I didn't ask you first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So anyways, I was worried the same with me. I was worried that it was, damaging the cars we have out front. So, but what else, or the other thing that it damaged is the gardens that I just put in. My gardens are destroyed.
No way.
Yeah. How about yours? You didn't get it out where you're at?
No, I think we had some hail. I'll have to ask Alex if we had hail, but Yeah, no, I mean, our gardens were fine, but I mean, it probably did do some damage. So are they completely destroyed or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I
Like,
was just looking and I got so confused because Amy in chat said we had hail too. And
it was a
then she
global
says
hail event.
Lincolnshire. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't know if she was still like living in England still, but
Oh
like what are
yeah.
the
No.
chances that they had hail
Wow.
there at
It
the
was
same
a
time as
global
us?
hail event. We had we had
A
hail everywhere.
scheduled hail
It
event.
was one belt that ran like around the globe, one little belt of hail. Complete anomaly. Anyway, we made it through. I'm
So
sorry to
it
hear about your
ruined the
gardens,
garden.
James. You got to
Yeah,
get us
I
some
I got
photos.
I got distracted there. It ruined the garden. Yeah, the garden. So like I had these nice flower because I had just planted it. They had taken root. They're flowering. It was
Oh,
working out, and like all the petals, everything is just like just ripped right off. It's like it
no,
was like yeah,
no.
it's pretty depressing actually.
I gotta
Kind of
come. We
sad
gotta
to
come
look
over
at.
and see if we can help salvage this whole deal.
Yeah, I
Anybody
don't
out
know.
there, any gardeners out there, can you please leave in the comments some suggestions for James? What do you do after hail if you've got, or is it a big problem? Or is it
Do you
a
have to water it? Do you have to water it with like pink drinks like this?
like pink energy drinks?
You have to get electrolytes to them?
Yeah. That's like that movie. That movie.
Yeah, that's what I was referencing.
Idiocracy. For anybody who hasn't seen Idiocracy, you got to see
Yeah.
that. You got to put the Gatorade on the fields.
Don't want to spoil the ending, but it's basically
No, it's
they've
pretty great.
ruined all their agriculture because they're watering it with Gatorade.
Yeah, good
Um.
movie. Check it out.
Anyways.
Speaking of movies, what
And
about movie theater? Like we're thinking about, like I would love to get back to the movie theater someday, and it's just when's that happening?
I know. Yeah. No, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. We want to mention one thing before we um, chat about that. We have a show that we were a part of, right, John?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We should talk about that.
Yeah, we should.
I want to chat about.
But
So
I agree with you.
this was a big, yeah. We'll talk about movie theaters in a little bit because James and I were talking about that a little earlier, and we wanted to kind of to bring that in on the show today. But before we do that, sort of speaking actually in the realm of movies and television, James and I, being kids from Ontario in the 90s, grew up on a healthy, regular diet of
Yeah.
TV
Speaking
Ontario.
of what we grew up on, yeah.
That's right. Speaking of, we grew up on TVO Kids. We watched it all the time, and we didn't.
John, you salvaged the segue.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. We couldn't what we were our sort of parameters in our household were that we didn't do TV during the week because we were practicing music and stuff during the week. But then on the weekends, it was like, yeah, Saturday, go for it. James and I often played outside anyway, but we loved watching TVO Kids. And when we were really young, we did watch a lot of TVO Kids just sort of at any time. And so it was for us a huge deal if we even had a chance to call in to TVO Kids. But of course, the phones were constantly busy. They never picked up. You always called the number and it was immediately busy. I don't know if these parents somewhere
Should I
else
tell the story
had, yeah,
of
you
when
got to
I?
tell the story. Had it on speed dial, but we didn't know how to operate speed dial. So we were always behind, never got through, except you got through once, didn't you, James?
Yeah, I was a little older. I was in my teens, and I thought we were watching one Saturday morning, and I thought, oh, why don't I just give it a try? I haven't done it in a long time, and as you get older, you kind of it became less and less of a cool thing or whatever, as you get older. So, but I was like, let's give it a try. And wouldn't you know it, I hadn't done it in forever, and I got through, and I was so terrified that I had gotten through and that I was potentially going to be on the air that I just hung the phone right up. I just hung it up. It's like,
You blew it.
nope.
You blew your only shot. And so for the longest time,
So I choked. I choked when I got my opportunity.
James has lived with this choking experience, having like not made the opportunity happen for TVO Kids. And of course, he tells me this when we're teenagers. I'm like, James, you blew it, man. We've been trying for years. You blew it. But then last year, when we were out on the road on tour, or just before we went out on tour for our fall tour in Canada, we got a reach out, a call from a new television show that was to be airing on TVO Kids called Backyard Beats. And they said, we'd like to have the Abrams on Backyard Beats. and the TV show is the whole thing is about basically young kids. They come on this backyard set and hang out with the host, and then the host builds an instrument. It's the instrument theme of the week. Our theme was the banjo. That's our episode, and of course James was playing banjo in the song that we did. And so a kid comes on to the program. An instrument is built, and then there's a jam session with us, and we play one of our songs. And the young person, the kid on the show, has learned something, of our song, and we do a jam. So it was such a cool idea. They call us, and
John,
Did they use
ramen noodles at all to build any of those instruments? No, or cereal? Like, remember when we were talking about cereal? Would they use cereal at all?
I think it was, but they were using sort of like household stuff. Like, so they were kind of like, James, you're trying to work in these awkward segues. Nice.
No. Okay, I should explain. I have a couple of friends. I sometimes play video games, and they thought it'd be funny if I worked ramen noodles and randomly tried to do it naturally.
That was so unnatural. Why didn't you talk about it back when we were talking about cereal?
I know.
Okay.
Well, because he just reminded me. He said, yo, talk about the noodles. Talk about the noodles.
All right, we did it. We worked it in.
I hope he got a laugh.
Good. Even though it was totally awkward. James, you got to be slicker about that stuff, man. You got to be way slicker about that. Anyway.
I thought it'd be funnier if I just threw it at you.
We were offered a spot to be on a TVO Kids show, and I don't know about you, James, but I lost it. I was so over the top excited about that because for us it was like TVO Kids, growing up in a farm community in Joyceville, in a small community like that. These are the universes that we had as kids, right? It was our farm where we used to hang out. It was our grandparents' place. Even going into town wasn't a thing that we had control over. It was mom and dad driving, and we kind of just showed up at places, didn't know how they got there. But TVO Kids was what we would watch. This is before the internet was really a thing, right? This is what we would watch to be experiencing the rest of the world. And it would take us all kinds of places, right? And so for us, that was like the big world was TVO Kids, and to be on it was like just out of this world. Like, we've made it in our career, and that was sort of
absolutely. So this show, you said you mentioned that they built these instruments, and and that they would have different kids come on and highlight different instruments. Did you mention that yet?
Yeah.
So we have a picture of the young guy who we actually were featured to do the banjo, which I do play banjo a little bit. And so obviously I would consider myself more a fiddle player, but they chose us for banjo. So we were really honored for that. And this young guy played banjo, and he really had picked it up pretty quickly, and he was pretty good. And
he played really well.
The solo. And so we just jammed together and played a song, which you can find out which one we played if you watch it. And so I can pull up the picture, and then I'll pull up some more of the details, or you can, John, from the email, and maybe just say the exact
I'll let everybody know about it. I've got it in front of me.
Do you have the email? Okay.
Yeah. So
here's the picture, and I'm sure that this is okay for us to share, right? Oh yeah, it's a promo. Okay, so we got
backyard beat.
I thought for a second Wednesday. Almost for a second, my eyes made me think that they spelled Wednesday wrong. Wait.
Oh yeah. No, they did. They spelled it right.
Okay.
Wednesday.
Okay, sorry. June 24th, 3:45 p.m.
3:45 p.m. Everybody, tune in on TVO Kids. It's also going to be on your YouTube channel, so you can watch us. And I think it's also going to replay Friday at 5:50 p.m. and Saturday at 10:50 a.m. But definitely tune in for the first run. I'm going to be 3:45 p.m. on Wednesday, June 24th. We're so excited. This was a big deal for us. There are lots of times in our career where we have been offered things or like really awesome shows. And I honestly, when we're dealing with our team at Warner or with the agents at Sakamoto, like I keep a pretty level head. I'm pretty calm. It's like, oh, great. That's an awesome opportunity. Let's do it. Like, I'm very sort of methodical about the approach. But when we were sent this from Warner, from our publicist, Adam Gonshore at Warner, sent us the offer to be on TVO Kids, I flipped out. I called him. I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm so glad that you guys made this happen. So thank you so much to everybody who put this together. Thank you for TVO Kids for sponsoring this phenomenal program that's going to expose a lot of kids to different instruments. And having music at home right now during this time, I think is more important than ever, because music really connects people, especially at a time when we're kind of disconnected. So we're really excited about this program coming out really soon. And we'll definitely be watching live for sure.
Yeah. So here's some of the info. I knew that there was more that I think you were forgetting, but there's a live stream. Did you mention the live stream?
On the YouTube channel. I said it was on the YouTube channel.
Okay, good. And then you mentioned the Friday, so great.
Yep.
And you can find links to the episode on TVO Kids. Did you say that?
I think I said all that. Are your earbuds working this week?
Just want to double check.
Yeah, so I think John missed a few things, and then he says the exact same thing as Ed. So brothers, man, this is brothers. This is brother life.
So anyways, yeah, no, you're right. That's going to be so much fun. And it really was such an honor. Again, it was one of those things that we only had 3 channels, and that was pretty much the main one we watched, other than Hockey Night in Canada. So,
and we only had we had dial-up internet until the end of our high school career, pretty much. So it was all we had.
So, but also speaking of us when we were younger, we were really big Disney fans, right?
Oh yeah, still am.
And Disneyland, like that was a big deal for us.
Absolutely.
Apparently things have been progressing around the world enough that it seems that Disney, now I know for sure that Disney Florida is opening, and I've also heard that Disney Japan is opening up. So that's probably some of the biggest reopenings since everything, like biggest in terms of mass amounts of people. And so it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
Well, and they'll have to have some sort of physical distancing policy in place.
I read, from the articles that I've read, that's what's going to happen.
Right.
They have, but what that made me think about was how bad the lines are already. It's going to make it even worse.
Oh, it's crazy
for waiting.
Oh.
Even I was looking at some of these articles. I pulled up this one. I think it was USA Today, and they said even the buses are going to like the wait just to get on a bus, like to transfer from parking lot to like, it's going to be way longer.
Oh, yeah, so, like think of how many people they pack into those buses to get into the parks. Like it's just crazy, right? So, and we used to. So James and I, when we were really young, we used to go to fiddle camp in California, and that was in San Diego, California. So we'd visit our family. We have really close family down there. Our grandparents, one set of our grandparents are down there, and so we'd stay with them and then go to fiddle camp. Mark O'Connor, a great fiddle player in Nashville and phenomenal composer in classical music as well. He would put on a camp where he'd bring some of the greatest violinists and fiddle players from around the world, and they'd teach the students at this camp. So it was a massively great opportunity that we got involved with when we were really young, and it actually helped James and I become, in great part, the players that we are now. And so we would try and spend a little bit of time on either side of fiddle camp down in California, and we'd always go to the original Disneyland park. I've actually never been to Disney Florida. You haven't either, right, James? So that's a pilgrimage we've been meaning to take like soon.
Yeah. I hate to just stop everything again, but the Wednesday is spelled wrong.
Isn't it WEDNESDA?
No, I was right. WEDNESDAY. There's no D. There's no second D.
Oh,
in Wednesday.
Yeah.
My eyes don't lie, John.
All right, good eye, man. Good eye. And I'm the one in part-time law school, and I studied English as an undergrad.
We would go to Disneyland. It was like even well into my teens. It was even now, like we've talked about going to. I've never been to the Disney World, and I'd love to go there. And we've talked about going. Yeah. Even in the last couple of years, which we haven't.
No, we definitely need to get down there. But James and I had this great hack at Disneyland in California. I don't know if you can do it at
Well,
Disney
certainly
World.
now, I don't know.
When, who knows? And let's just imagine for like when everything gets back to normal here. Check out and let us know if this is a hack that is still possible, because James and I figured out that if you go, so there's the normal lineup, which is, takes you 3 hours to get on a ride. And then there's the fast pass lineup, which you have to pay for. And then you get a ticket that takes you there. You go to that ride at a certain time. And so, that's shorter, but still a fast pass can be quite long. And then James and I found this single rider secret at a lot of the rides at Disneyland, where if you go in the exit instead of the entrance lines, if you go back in the exit and you say, I'm a single rider, Disneyland actually has to make sure that every single car in whatever ride they have going is full. Otherwise, people will complain in the line. But families of 4 or families of 5, like, it doesn't always work out that a car is full if people are riding together, because you might have, say, a family of 4 go, and then you have another family of 5 after that, but they don't want to break up. And the family before them doesn't want to break up, but there's maybe 5 cars in the, or 5 seats in the car, right? So you got 1 extra seat there. Well, James and I figure out that if you go and claim you're a single rider, because James and I didn't care about riding together, that they put you in the car from the single rider line, and there were only ever like 10 people in this line, just to fill the car so it looked full. And James and I would go on loops around the most popular rides at Disneyland as quickly as we were able to, because of this hack we found out. So if anybody's going that way, I don't know about COVID situation, but post-COVID, let us know how that goes.
It really was such an amazing hack, and we got to ride on some of the best rides, like, so many times every day, just because we found that out. And it was the best, because otherwise it's like hours waiting in lines for some of that stuff, like for Magic Mountain, Space Mountain, and then the one with the log that you go down that Splash Mountain.
Yeah,
to cover all the mountains.
All the mountains. The Indiana Jones ride. We did that on Indiana Jones a lot. You'd actually have to go up an elevator. Mountain. It was like a service elevator for the people who cleaned the thing, and then you'd have to go.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was so weird. But
you missed out on some of the buildup because they have this sets and stuff and the music in the lines that kind of make it cool too.
Right.
So there's a part of the line that's kind of cool. That has a bit of a vibe.
I guess. Yeah. But we've seen
like if it's not hours in the sun. If it's not hours in the sun.
Yeah.
That's bad. Mean, like the Matterhorn, I think you stand outside in the sun and stuff. It's like rough.
Absolutely.
Anyways, I thought that to me was pretty.
That's big
pretty news. Exciting news, big news, but also, big news in terms of it's sort of a big stepping stone in terms of getting things back to normal. If it goes okay, then it's going to be really positive. But hopefully, there isn't some sort of outbreak as a result of it. But
yeah, absolutely,
we'll have to see. It sounds like they said June. I just went away from the page, but it's the end of June. It's going to open up, and the procedures are basically that. Let's see, June 22nd, and the hotels will open June 22nd. The world is back in July.
Okay,
and then they have a bunch of new, just basically just social distancing.
Who's going to a Disney hotel and not going to a park that's
this is something interesting. The masks are required for anyone over the age of 2. So if you're 3, you got to wear a mask.
Wow.
Do they remember how young you were at 3? I don't, like, would you even know what's happening? Like what's on your, why something's on your face?
Wow. I'm just curious about the people.
Swimming.
I'm curious about the people who are going to go on June 23rd to stay at a Disney hotel for a couple weeks and not go to a park because it's not open.
True.
Who's doing that?
Yeah, that's funny.
Maybe us. Do you want to go to a Disney themed hotel, Jan? No, we're waiting till the park's open.
Yeah. And then I saw something else funny about. So they have, like, the guests at the hotels will have individually wrapped glassware. That makes sense. which is normal, isn't it? Double case pillows, which I don't know if that's normal, but every other day light cleaning service. Isn't that what happens? Isn't that less
Yeah.
than normal?
Yeah. I think,
So I'm like, wait, are
what
you
was the
cleaning
cleaning
less?
regimen at the Disney hotels
Yeah.
before
That was
COVID?
part. I was reading that. I was like, what?
What?
Sounds less to me.
We're gonna have to look into that. Maybe we won't be
And then
staying.
says bus service will be available between Disney Resort hotels and Disney Springs retail dining complex
Nice.
and theme park when it reopens. But social distancing will be required on buses, leading to reduced capacity and longer waits for guests, which I imagine are pretty long waits in general. So
James, I think
I
we're
don't know if I'll
gonna
be
you and
buying
I
a
are
ticket
gonna
soon.
I think we're gonna go in like 2 years. Let's
Yeah,
just give it some
I
time.
won't be getting a ticket soon.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's sort of the main gist of all that stuff. And but it's kind of a big deal in terms of the stepping stones back to normal life on the quarantine front. And anyway, so that was a long off-road tangent from your initial inclination to want to talk about movies, right? Which is
Oh,
kind of a big part of today, because um as things are getting back to seeing this Disney stuff, it's making
right.
me think of other things that we've been missing out on of late. And a big thing that you and I have kind of gravitated to, because it's kind of a thing that's always around when we're on the road or at home or
Totally.
wherever, is movie theaters.
It's true.
And I was just thinking they're like the last ones to kind of probably get the okay. Them and musicians, like music venues, are going to
Right.
be the last of the last
Yeah.
probably to get an okay to have festivals. And so, but being musicians, we kind of have a better understanding of what where the music industry is at. But I was sitting down and just kind of thinking about movie theaters and what the kind of future is for them, especially us being big
Right.
lovers
Yeah.
of going to the movies. And just because they, even more than I would say music in a lot of cases, maybe not a festival if they have infrastructure for the festival and stuff, but they have the most overhead, like in terms of expenses
Oh
to
yeah.
keep their business going, and going to be waiting the longest to get any sort of revenue in terms of people in the seats. And so
Well, I
I
know.
you know I know that you've talked to me in the last couple of years about how they've been dwindling in terms of, or having to change their business model because
Right.
people are streaming more, people are watching movies in different ways and watching different types of content, even streaming and stuff, like watching their favorite people playing, I don't know, video games or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there's just a lot more things for people to be doing these days. And especially now when we kind of get the okay to be out and about, you think people are going to be wanting to sit inside a
Right.
dark theater as well? Like,
No, exactly. That's so true. I
that's
mean,
another thing.
that's the
Like
thing
a
about the
festival is
movie
one thing, but
industry.
you're outside, right? You're outside at a music festival. And
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing about the movie industry is they don't have the live component that we have in the music industry. And if you think about it, what it costs to make a record compared to what it costs to make a film. I mean, the overhead to
I
make
can
a
hear Clooney there.
yeah, Clooney and Thor are
He's
going
sounding
crazy
good.
on
He's
some
sounding
squirrel.
healthy. He's
Yeah,
sounding all right.
they're going crazy on some squirrel in the next room.
It doesn't matter. Just keep going. I was just letting you
Life.
know. It
They're
doesn't matter.
going
I was
crazy.
just letting you know.
Anyway, so the overhead to make a film is in the hundreds of millions for the big blockbusters,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So you've got a crew to have to deal with. You've got all kinds of people that are on set. I mean, even just the amount of people that have to get together in a close space to make a film compared to being in a studio for music, it's a completely different thing, right? So that's been heavily affected. And of course, in music, we kind of went through that big change 10 years ago when we all went to streaming and online downloading, and we obviously had a big difficulty with that for a while, but it's sort of, in the music industry, it seems to have somewhat figured itself out, although there are still issues. But the movie industry is still very reliant on box office sales at the movie theater, to at least to what knowledge I have, and so it's probably a very weird time. Although I think movie theaters make the most money at selling popcorn and advertisements, right? Most of the box office.
It's hard to say no when I go in there, man. Hard to say
I know.
no.
You see it, you just got to have,
once you get that smell and just the excitement of the.
They get you. They know. They get you every time, and they get me too. There are a few times where I will go, you know what? I'm going in here with a bottle.
The price is outrageous. I mean, let's just be honest, though.
Well, Alex worked at sports camp in Kingston, at a sports camp in Kingston, and they served popcorn. And she told me that it was like
so cheap.
Cents. The bags of popcorn seeds they get were maybe I don't know, like $1 or something crazy for the bag of popcorn seeds, and then that makes bags upon bags upon bags. Like, so the markup is, you know, it's almost like 20 times at least, you know, because you know you're never leaving that concession without spending $30.
Yeah.
So
anyways, but they still get me anyways, and so that's all. And I think I'll be more likely to want to do it now, because not that I know that they were doing well before this and whatever, and they're not necessarily small companies or small businesses, but I know that in the States there is a lot of smaller. And you can probably speak to this more, John. You said that a lot of them have conglomerated and become singular big entities and stuff, right. But I feel like I still see some smaller chains that I've never heard of in different states.
That's true.
Not as much in Canada, but so for those people, the smaller, movie chains, I feel for them for sure.
They'd be hit hard for sure.
And so I'll definitely stop in and buy some popcorn.
Yeah. Well, and James, you started this conversation by saying it, but when we're out on the road, touring,
it's kind of the only thing to do. That or bowling. Like, you can bowl in a lot of towns, but that's about it.
We watch a lot of movies.
Or the mall. We go to the mall.
We go to malls.
Mall.
James and I are inspired by
street.
malls. We'll talk about that in another podcast.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. We should bring up the dead malls. The ghost malls.
The ghost malls of America.
We can see how the earth
Write that
is
down.
Coming back
that
up.
Is definitely that is a future podcast for sure.
We can peruse through the ghost malls with all the vines and stuff growing through the ground.
When all you've got is a J.C. Penney left, it's,
yeah,
for sure.
So, but on top of that, I mean, it's safe to assume that there's going to be some kind of lull in content because people have not been able to make anything right now, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if you've read anything about that, but that and TV shows stopped production, and so I don't know how they're going to deal with kind of, the sort of inconsistency of delivery of kind of these, big movies. I don't know if some are already filmed and sitting there waiting. I think there is some that I remember. They pushed off the dates. Like James Bond was a big one coming in the spring that got pushed. So they have some, but I mean, at some point there has to be, because if they're not doing anything now, there has to be, unless they're going to rush some other stuff. I don't know.
Well, there'll either be a gap. I mean, at least there will definitely be a slowdown. There'll either be a gap or it'll be some sort of a slowdown in general of releases, because we're up to like 700 movies coming out a year. Big films in major chain theaters now. It's something crazy like that. I read that not too long ago.
Oh my gosh.
It might dwindle back down to 20 years ago figures of how many movies are coming out for the year, probably 2021, right? Or we're gonna have a catch-up game, and then it's probably gonna, because there will be a gap in production because there won't have been production for months at a time. And that's a big deal.
Yeah. So all those factors can be interesting to see what happens there. But then by me thinking about this, I thought, because John is really the movie guy, I consider him like he could be, a film critic, in my opinion.
Well, that's nice. Thank you. That's very nice, James.
I do. I think that.
I did go to film for school.
I think he could. I think he could have the authority to give a thumbs up, or a thumbs down, Ebert and Alex, who was it?
Well, Siskel and Ebert, and then Ebert and Roper, and then Ebert passed. So it's Roper and maybe just.
Oh yeah. The late. Yeah. Late Ebert. So I thought that he could put together a list of his top 5 movie moments in sort of celebration, or not celebration, but in as kind of a tribute to movie theaters and nice, there you go.
Wait,
to the industry of the movie industry. Oh, Alex got you that one, eh, Johnny?
That's my Christmas
Where did
gift
you wear
from
that?
Alex.
You wore that to a certain event, didn't you?
I did. I wore this one to the most recent Star Wars, to Rise of Skywalker.
I have not seen it yet, by the way.
And well, we won't go down that road, but I really loved it. That's all I'm gonna say. But I can't believe.
But can you believe that? It's one of those. Sometimes
it's out now.
Like, okay, I'll watch it. I'll watch it and get back to you.
Might even be on Disney Plus. I don't know. I'll have to check there, but I think it is
Disney Plus. There you go. So
we
have a list. We have a list, and I'll pull up the first one here. But I just want to remember, you'll give me the heads up, John, when there's one that maybe isn't or the end of it isn't family friendly or something. I'll just mute the end of it or something.
Oh no, it was just the beginning of the first 4. You can just skip the first 5 seconds of the Few Good Men track, but we'll.
Okay, you tell me. Okay.
Come back
okay.
All
right. So the first one is a runner-up, right? And then you have a top 5.
Well, I had.
So take this away. Take it away. Take it away, buddy.
You said top 5. I couldn't pick a top 5. It had to be 6.
You know what? Before we get into this final segment here, let's get some of the chat. There's a bunch of chat that we've missed up on.
Yeah.
We have apparently Amy had hail, so she responded back to that. Aliza said we didn't have hail here, but lots of rain, heavy wind. Yep. And then the noodles thing. Yeah. So Amy was just chatting with Nico a little bit, which is great. Nice to see people chatting back and forth. Nico mentioned that the Good Lovelies were on that TV show, and
yes,
we had heard that. They're fantastic. A bunch of great musicians were on that. We had a couple from our record label. We had the Sheepdogs. We had Brett Kissel doing one. I don't know if we kind of just I don't know if he has released that info yet, but anyways, you hang around us and you get info.
You get the inside scoop.
Mary.
Spoilers from the Abrams.
We can't get in trouble.
Whatever.
Mary Ray was the one who confirmed my suspicion that there was a D missing, and Aliza said they forgot the D in Wednesday. That looks like a great show, Aliza says, and Nico says amazing, and then Mary Ray says we were at Disney World the day before COVID shut it down.
Whoa!
Lines were mostly 15 minutes or less.
Whoa!
As if we got married with the information. On the what do you call it when a reporter's on location?
On location, ground zero, whatever you want to choose, right there.
Man, what a perfect person to have in the chat for our little
awesome.
Conversation
Thank you, Mary
today. Wow. That would have been great. 15 minutes or less. Man.
Wow.
Obviously, it would have been also probably a little concerning for her if they didn't really know what was going to happen with the spread of COVID. Amy says we went to Disneyland Paris for a physics trip. Oh, I love the old physics trip.
Yeah.
We did some science trips to the roller coaster park too. There wasn't a lot of math going on.
Yeah. And they give you the.
Yeah, she said, "Trust me, there was no education involved."
No.
Zoos too.
I remember
several UK ones.
They give you a little math sheet that you had to fill out.
Something.
They give you like a little math sheet that you had to fill out for I remember I literally went on a math trip to Canada's Wonderland or something like that. You had like 5 questions you had to answer and nobody did it. Like nobody did.
So funny. So zoos too. Oh, zoos. She's saying zoos are on the verge of collapse.
Oh yeah.
Right. Which would make sense too. There's lots of overhead costs on that, and
of course,
no visitors, and
yeah.
So that's sad too. That's actually zoos is the other thing that we like to go to because they're often some of those places that we don't play, and or museum, like we'll go to science museums or stuff like that. But
true.
anyways, the yeah, it'll be tough to see how things kind of adapt. Anyways, we got to get into this top five.
James, we're gonna
We're
go
a little
over an
late to
hour.
it. We got 10 minutes.
We're going over an
Okay,
hour. That's just how it's gonna be.
we'll
But
give
that's
it its
okay,
time.
because we don't have
Yeah,
a time constraint for this podcast. So
we really
everybody,
don't. But
tune in, stay in with us if you can, and we're gonna go through these.
we'll try to get through it as quick as we can, though. But we'll give it its due.
Yeah. You have to, man. You built me up to this.
Okay. So let's get on the. I can't push.
So
the train
these
down the
are
track here.
my top 6 favorite movie moments, and we're gonna start
Okay.
with what I said.
Runner up.
Going to be the runner-up, but it is the opening battle scene of Gladiator. This is a phenomenal film. I absolutely love Gladiator, but it's one particular line that is spoken between Quintus, who's the lieutenant, I believe, of Maximus, General Maximus, played by Russell Crowe, and they're taking over they're in Germania. This is when Rome was conquering the German hordes at the time. And I just love this little moment here. Play your way, James.
Okay. Any timestamp or just?
Yeah, just jump ahead a little bit. Yeah, you want to jump ahead past the,
Right here?
get into the battle. Get in. Actually, no, you know what? Go to about 340.
Okay.
Yeah, go to about 340. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
That'll work.
And this is family friendly. You've checked all this?
Yeah, it's family friendly. I mean, there's a it's a battle, so you're gonna see some.
Okay. No, fake violence.
Yeah, fake violence, not a real head.
This scene is so good, bro.
Oh,
I haven't seen it forever.
that's the poor messenger they sent in
People
from.
should know when they're conquered.
Oh. Okay, so Quintus just said people should know when they're conquered, and that's the line that Max responded.
What do you, Quintus? What I?
Oh, I love that. Okay, so pause it,
Here,
James.
I'll play it
So
back.
there's just this incredible line where this sort of lieutenant who's thinking about these people as like they should know when they're conquered, and there's just such wisdom in the response.
Did I miss it? Is it back here? Yeah, it's right here.
No, we already watched it. Pause it.
I know, but I didn't hear it.
What do you, Quintus? What I?
Oh, that's so
Okay,
good.
so what was it? What did he say?
Yeah, so,
'Cause it's kinda hard for me to
Quintus
hear.
says people should know when they're conquered, and then you see
Oh, man.
this army of clearly starving, desperate people like on their last stand, and then Russell Crowe's character Maximus turns to him and says, "Would you, Quintus? Would I?" And it's just the most.
Oh, would you know? Would you know if you're conquered?
Would you know if you're conquered?
Ooh.
Would
Okay,
I
so
know
that's
if
the
I'm
runner-up. Hit us.
So
with
that's the
number
runner-up.
five, John.
Okay.
To number one.
The next
Start with
one,
number
play
five.
it right from the start. Okay. It's from O Brother Where Art Thou. It's the
Ooh, good
it's
one.
the scene when the Soggy Bottom Boys get on stage near the end and they realize, oh my goodness, we're famous. Play it from the top.
I love
please.
this. Okay.
Yeah.
Right from the top.
Ain't you ever heard of any more famous?
Oh no.
I am the man of constant sorrow. I've seen
So good.
trouble.
Look at the face here.
This is Soggy Bottom Boys. I bid farewell to old Kentucky, the plains where I was born and raised.
They did such a good job casting the right people.
So
Oh my God.
good.
The place where
good.
he
Sorry,
And,
I apologize for there's just so many things running on my computer. I'm gonna get the right software to finally do this properly, but we've never
all
had
right.
so many YouTube videos open.
I know. So what's great about this, particularly for James and I, is that the first album that we ever learned any songs off of, this is before we were writing songs, and when James and I were just starting to play music together, the first 3 songs that we learned were from the Oh Brother Where Art Thou movie soundtrack. And so we learned I'll Fly Away, Keep on the Sunny Side, and the Big Rock Candy Mountain. And the Big Rock Candy Mountain kind of became our sort of, cover hit amongst our audiences at that time, because it was James and I at 9 and 11 years old singing about cigarette trees and whiskey lakes and all kinds of stuff in this song. You got to look up the Big Rock Candy Mountain from the Over the Art Thou soundtrack. And those were the first 3 songs you and I sang together, James, and we started getting on stage. And
yeah, it's unfortunate that those aren't really online to be able to stream or anything, but we should try to. I was trying to one time find, I could play the old CD and bring up. Just our voices are so high and like it's so funny. They all fly away. We'll bring it up at some point. We're gonna remember that, and we talked about the malls, but let's get into number 4 if we can, because I'm sorry that it just keeps skipping. That's like John's pet peeve. It's like the movie's not working properly. So John's probably sitting there just infuriated.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Everybody can go reference these anyway. But we're actually moving on to number 3. But I did want to say that Over the Art Thou. We just did 2. We just did 2.
Yeah, we did 2, but we were doing a top 5, and the number 6 was Gladiator outside of the top 5.
Right. So we're moving on to number 4. I see. They're not ranked in this order. They're not ranked.
Oh,
these are just ones I like.
Okay.
And Oh Brother Art Thou, it was just special because you and I went to go watch the show live in Toronto, and then we actually sat next to a couple of people who said, "You got to get down to Nashville to perform at SPIGMA, the Bluegrass Music Association down there." And that's when we first went to Nashville and performed and actually started our career. So we owe a lot to that movie. And that is the best scene where they realize they're super famous. I love that. Okay. The next one is from a movie that's actually I like a lot of the sci-fi movies. And so for anybody who's got some time during COVID quarantine to watch this one, if you haven't seen it, it's more of a niche one, but it's still a big film. It's called Blade Runner from the 1980s. And I do have to explain a little bit here. So this is set in 2019, or what the 80s thought 2019 was going to look like. It's basically a wasteland industrial Los Angeles with flying cars, and humans have colonized off-world planets. And they've also developed what are called replicants. So basically robots that look almost identical and they function identical to human beings. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference, but for a little test that you can do. And replicants have a built-in 4-year lifespan, and they die after 4 years because in the history of the movie, they were revolting and stuff like that. And that's how the company that makes them set them up that way. So Rick Deckard, the main protagonist, played by Harrison Ford, is what's called a Blade Runner, a detective that is tasked with going and hunting down replicants that are revolting or basically breaking the code or the law. And there's 4 replicants that are on Earth and causing all kinds of mayhem, and they're not supposed to be on Earth anyway. So he's hunting down these replicants, and Roy Batty, who's a replicant, played by Rutger Hauer, is in this scene, and it's the final duel between Harrison Ford and Rutger Hauer's character. And Rutger Hauer is just about to die. He's at the end of his 4-year lifespan. And I think to this day, this is one of the most beautiful monologues ever made in cinema history, in the 20th century at very least.
This is working okay.
It's working great. So you think that Rutger Hauer, the replicant, is going to kill Harrison Ford because he's hanging from a ledge?
Quite an experience to live in fear, isn't it? That's what it is to be a slave.
Harrison Ford. He kind of looks like you in this movie, Jen. A little bit.
Thanks, man.
A little bit.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Oh, and that's me. That's me.
Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the 10-house gate. All those moments will be lost in time. Like tears in rain. Time to die.
Oh man,
It's really good.
That's the most.
I think that.
What's that, James?
I think this. Okay, this. I've seen this and it's really great.
Yeah.
I kind of just realized though that guy is like killing his act. Like the other guy is like killing the lines. He's absolutely destroying the acting there. And Harrison Ford is kind of doing nothing.
It's true. You just kind of going.
There's like no change.
But I think
Buddy is carrying the whole scene.
Yeah, totally. But I think he's like, this is the most human moment in the whole movie, and he's the robot, which is so phenomenal. And the shots are incredible.
I see.
And then beyond that whole scene, that whole monologue was ad lib made up by Rutger Hauer. It wasn't in the script.
That's insane.
It's like the most famous
And just in
monologue
case
from the whole movie.
anybody's wondering, the reason why I sort of consider John a bit of a, I appreciate his opinions on this stuff because he actually has a film degree. So, and that
thanks.
I guess that has to mean something, right, John?
Yeah, well, hopefully. I mean, I'm just somebody who likes movies, really. But that one is a big one for me because I think it was a big part of forming the foundation of my love for films. And actually, that segues into this next one. This next trilogy made me want to go to film school. Actually, watching all the documentaries on how they made these films made me go, oh, I love this. I want to do this. And of course, I work on the music videos with you, James, that we do every time we put out a new one because of having gone to film school. So this is the moment at the end of The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. And it's basically, the scene is titled "You Bow to No One." And it makes me cry every time I watch it at the end of this great big journey. The king comes out, Aragorn.
My friends. You bow to no one.
I think what's so cool about it in the context of the film is that somebody so small or somebody who seems insignificant can accomplish anything and can change the world. And the whole trilogy is basically that theme around the hobbits and how they get to the end of the journey. And if it wasn't for Frodo and the hobbits, none of this would have, like, the whole world would be in darkness, right? And so the fact the whole kingdom, including the king and queen, bow to them at the end is a really is a poignant moment, and it gets me tear-jerked every time. Okay.
Is it worse in full screen when I play it? Is it worse?
I think it might be a little worse than full screen. Keep it off the full screen.
Sorry.
Okay, we got two more, and it's okay. We're running a little over. It doesn't matter. I like this.
We'll finish them up quick.
Okay. I am in part-time law school when we're not on the road, or sometimes when I'm on the road, I take my work with me. And one of my favorite legal movies, it's not necessarily representative of real courtroom drama, that's for sure. But this is an awesome dialogue scene from one of the great screenwriters, Aaron Sorkin of Hollywood. And I love Jack Nicholson in this. So just skip to maybe 10 seconds, James.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trusting you.
Yeah.
Let's go 11.
That's fine.
That Santiago wasn't to be touched. Then why did he have to be transferred? Colonel, Lieutenant Kendrick ordered the code red, didn't he? Because that's what you told Lieutenant Kendrick to do.
Object! And when it went bad, you cut these guys loose! Your Honor, you had markers inside a phony transfer. Your Honor, you doctored the logbook. Damn it, Captain! You coerced the doctor.
Consider yourself in contempt.
Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question.
Tom Cruise pretty
You
good.
want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
That's awesome. Oh, do you want me to keep going?
Okay, yeah, keep going because it's because his
It
monologue
has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know, that Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives. And my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone of a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide, and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Did you order the code red?
I did the job.
Did you order the code red?
You're goddamn right I did!
Oh, that's the punch. Man,
Wow.
It's like this great moment of dialogue because Aaron Sorkin and for anybody who is interested in watching movies with great dialogue, Aaron Sorkin is a phenomenal screenwriter and it's so back and fired, and his monologue writing is phenomenal. And Jack
That was
Nicholson,
fantastic.
he just
Jack Nicholson was amazing.
takes him down in that scene. So
Okay, so in the last
final
one.
one.
We'll
So
never
John's
get it
a
out
huge
now.
Star Wars fan.
So certain are
Huge,
you.
obviously.
Always with you what cannot be done. Do you nothing that I say?
Master, moving stones around is one thing. This is totally different.
No, no different. Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No, try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try.
Mark Hamill, just totally invested in this film. Love Yoda's eyes in that shot. Oh, fail.
I love the old non-CGI, like
Oh,
the
me too. It's the best.
puppets. I love the puppets.
Real stuff on the screen.
Just the subtle shake of the head of the puppet.
It's too big.
Size matters not. Look at me. Judge me by my size, do you?
So good.
And where you should not. For my ally is the Force. And a powerful ally it is. Life creates it. Makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. You must feel the force around you. Here, between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere. Yes, even between the land and the ship.
You want the impossible.
The sets are amazing, man.
Luke's just piecing out. He's giving up. The puppeteering is amazing. Frank Oz, just absolutely incredible. It just brings the characters so much to life.
The puppeteer there, the puppet kind of reminded me of the Dark Crystal.
Same ones.
Same ones? The music is so good too.
Here's my favorite line coming up. Best. I think it's my favorite line in all Star Wars.
I don't believe it.
That is why you fail.
Oh,
What a
so
burn.
good.
What a burn.
I don't believe it.
Anyways,
That is why you fail. And it's just
well,
so.
we'll leave it on that.
We'll
Thank
leave
you
it on that.
guys.
So,
We really
Gladiator,
appreciate you hanging
Blade
around.
Runner, Lord of the Rings, A Few Good Men, and Star Wars. So those are obviously some big, very well-known, not arty, niche-y, selections. But I just absolutely go back to those all the time. So thanks for indulging me, James, and and letting me talk about that, because I certainly love doing that during this quarantine COVID stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll just finish up a couple of these comments here. Amy
Right on.
says, and then the Abrams YouTube channel gets its first copyright strike. I've thought about that, and
Yep.
it's fine. If
Well,
that
we're
happens,
playing
it's
YouTube
okay.
videos on YouTube, so I'm hoping
That's
we're
true.
cool.
I'm sitting in the new room next to you. Alex, your wife is trying to guess which movies that you're going to choose, and she's 2 for 2 so far. If I get all 6, will you take me out for ice cream? There you go. I've been having way too much DQ recently.
Let's go for ice
And,
cream anyway.
You should get ice cream whether or not you get all 6 correct. Eliza says. Amy says amen to that.
So good.
And then Akeem says, bye guys. See you next week. See you next week. All right, guys. Thank you so much. That'll be it for this week. Really appreciate you guys. Sorry about going over a little bit. But it's all fun here, and we don't really have strict timelines on any of this.
That's for sure.
Anyways, we'll see you guys next week, and thanks so much.
Episode 7 next week.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us on Monday evenings. It really means so much. Hope to see you guys next week. Thanks so much.
Guys.
See you guys.